Hello everyone. So our today's topic of discussion is time, speed and distance. So this video is basically for GMAT and GRE students because SAT does not ask any questions on time, speed and distance. Now when we talk about this chapter time, speed and distance, this entire chapter consists of one simple relationship which each one of you would be knowing, that is the average speed is equal to total distance over total time taken. Frankly speaking, there is nothing else in this chapter. If you know this equation, you should be able to solve all the questions. Whether the questions are of uh, train moving towards each other or two people running on a circular track, whatever the question is. Okay, we can you can say that okay, I don't understand the concept of relative speed, so that is something that we can talk about. But apart from that, more or less, if it is a simple question, it's a question on when two people or two things are running on a straight line, that is a linear motion, then you should be able to solve if you know the relationship that average speed is equal to total distance over total time taken. Yet even after knowing this, you would find this chapter extremely difficult if the questions are entirely based on variables, that is if you don't have numerical values. Okay, so what we are going to do here is that I'm going to first of all brief you about the theory. I won't take too much time in that because that's not something that we are here for as far as this chapter is concerned. And once we're done with that, then I'm going to solve problems so as to make you understand like what process do I follow and what goes through in my mind when I see a question on time, speed and distance. Okay, one of the most important chapters when you talk about aptitude maths. Okay, all right, let's begin. Let's just quickly go through the basics of time, speed and distance. So as I've just told you that it consists of one simple relationship, that is average speed is equal to total distance traveled or total distance covered divided by total time taken. Let's say suppose if I give you a question, there are 2 points A and B. A person goes from A to B at an average speed of 40 kilometers per hour and he comes back from B to A at an average speed of 60 km per hour. A person goes from A to B at an average speed of 40 km per hour and he comes back at an average speed of 60 km per hour. What will be the average speed of the entire journey? Entire journey is like going from A to B and then back from B to A. This is basically what I mean. Okay. So pause the video, try the question, you have the formula, try to plug in the values and try to fetch the answer. Alright, let's see what we can do with this one. Now, usually students say that those of you who are doing this chapter for the first time, that the average speed shouldn't it be like simply 50 because that's average of 40 and 60. The distance between A and B is constant, so shouldn't it simply be 40 plus 60 by 2, which is 50? So no, the answer is incorrect. Second thing that I hear most oftenly from the students, so whenever you go from A to B and then back from B to A, then the average speed is calculated as 2xy divided by x plus y, where x is the speed going from A to B and y is the speed going from B to A. So plug in this formula. Now I tell them that why do you want to memorize this? There is no need. There is no need of memorizing these formulas. It's not required, trust me. Even for the relative speeds also, you don't require formula. Understand the logic. Every question in this chapter can be solved. More or less like 99.9% of the questions can be solved using this one simple relationship. The problem with TSD is the imagination, the basic concept. Whether you have understood the question or not, that's where the problem comes. It's not about like using formulas and remembering them. even whether it's variable, whether it's no variables, it doesn't matter. Okay, when we'll start solving questions, no, you'll get a better idea. Anyway, so let's do one thing. Let's consider the distance between A and B to be d kilometers. Distance between A and B to be d kilometers. If I ask you what will be the time taken for a person to go from A to B, can I say that will simply be d by 40? Total distance is d, the average speed is 40, so the time taken will be d by 40, that's it. If I talk about time taken from B to A, that will simply be d by 60, because distance is again d and the average speed is given to as 60 km per hour, so total time taken will be d by 60. Now if I want to calculate the average speed of the entire journey, that will be the total distance. Now total distance is A to B plus B to A, which is 2d, divided by d by 40 plus d by 60. Now solve this. So this will simply become 2d. You can take 120 as your LCM and you're gonna have 5d in the denominators and numerator. You can cancel d and d. This 120 is gonna go up. So that is 240 by 5, which will simply be equal to 48 km per hour, which is equal to 48 km per hour. Now the interesting thing is, the distance between A and B is constant. You take it to be d, 150, 70, 80, whatever you want to take. The average speed is not dependent on the distance, because the two d's are cancelling. The two d's are getting cancelled out. You can see that in the second last step. I have cancelled the two d's, 2d and then divided by 5d, so I have cancelled both the d's. The average speed in this case, it's not dependent on the distance. You can take distance to be anything. Your average speed will always be 48. Now actually the question that I want to ask you guys here is that I'm going at an average speed of 40, I'm coming back at an average speed of 60. The distance is same. Then why my answer is not 50? And why my answer is not 50? Think about this and let me know the answer in the comment box. Why the answer is not 50? Why the answer is 48? The answer is 48, okay? The final answer is 48, no denying on this part. But why is it 40? Sorry, my mistake. The final answer is 48. Why isn't it 50? My bad. Okay? Think about this. It's really interesting. Everything lies, all the answers lie in this one simple relationship. Distance is equal to speed into time. You use it, but most of you don't understand it. All right. Let's change the question. So now the question is, there are 3 points, A, B and C, okay? B is basically the midpoint. B is the midpoint of AC. B is the midpoint of AC. A person goes from A to B at an average speed of 40 km per hour, and then from B to C at an average speed of 60 km per hour. A person goes from A to B at an average speed of 40 km per hour, and he goes from B to C at an average speed of 60 km per hour. What will be the average speed of his entire journey? Now in this case, entire journey is from A to C. Pause the video and try this question, please. Alright, so we're gonna follow the same process again. I just know one relationship, that's it. Average speed is equal to total distance covered divided by total time taken. Okay, so I can say that time taken in going from A to B. So let's first say that distance from A to B is D and distance from B to C it's also D. So time taken in going from A to B, let's say that's simply equal to D by 40, and time taken in going from B to C, that will simply be D by 40. Sorry, my bad, D by 60. The average speed is 60. So again the total time taken is D by 40 plus D by 60, which is 5D by 120. You can take LCM to be 120 and this will become 5D by 120. Now when you talk about the average speed, that's like the total distance, which is 2D, divided by total time, that is 5D by 120, and this will again come out to be 48 km per hour. Now the reason why I solved this question for a straight line motion also, not for a to and fro motion, because I have observed that with many of my students that they say that that formula, that is 2xy divided by x plus y, is only valid for a to and fro motion. So no, again the answer is no. You can use that formula if you know that 2xy divided by x plus y. Here also you will get the same result, that is 48 kilometers per hour. So again the point is, please do not remember any relationship apart from the average speed is equal to total distance by total time taken. Find me one question in this chapter which can't be solved using total distance covered by total time taken. There will be none. Okay, you may have to do like you may need to know like the concept of what's relative speed, how do you tackle relative speed, more or less here and there, but there will be other ways also, but you will have no question which can't be solved using this relationship. So do not remember anything, trust me, it's not required, it's not required. Okay, all right. So pause the video and try this question, please. You have to simply use that one relationship. Apart from that, use your logic and always draw on a piece of paper whenever you are solving the question of time, speed, and distance. Mark the points, draw it, and then solve it. Alright, let's try this one. So Athav went from Delhi to Shimla via Chandigarh by car. The distance from Delhi to Chandigarh is 3/4 the distance from Chandigarh to Shimla. Okay, so he went from Delhi to Shimla via Chandigarh. So I'm going to draw this first of all. So this is Delhi. Then this is Chandigarh. And this is Shimla. The distance from Delhi to Chandigarh is 3/4 times the distance from Chandigarh to Shimla. Okay, so Delhi to Chandigarh is 3/4 the distance from Chandigarh to Shimla. Now there are two ways of understanding this. One is you can take this distance to be x, which will give you Delhi to Chandigarh as 3x by 4, because it's the distance from Delhi to Chandigarh is 3/4 the distance from Chandigarh to Shimla. Another way is, if you're good with ratios, I can also say that the distance from Chandigarh to Shimla it's 4x, and distance from Delhi to Chandigarh will automatically become 3x, because the distance between Delhi and Chandigarh is 3/4 the distance between Chandigarh and Shimla. So the distance between Chandigarh and Shimla it's 4x, so 3/4 of 4x will automatically become 3x. The reason is that I don't want to take fractions, because I somehow subconsciously know that I will have to divide the distance by speed or time in order to calculate time or speed, right? I don't want to have a fraction. It's better for me to have an integer value or something of that sort. Okay, that's gonna help me more. The average speed from Delhi to Chandigarh was half as much again as that from Chandigarh to Shimla. The average speed from Delhi to Chandigarh was half as much again from Chandigarh to Shimla. Okay. The average speed from Delhi to Chandigarh was half as much again as that from Chandigarh to Shimla. Okay, so from Chandigarh to Shimla, if I take my average speed to be S, then the average speed from Delhi to Chandigarh will become S plus S by 2. It says that the average speed from Delhi to Chandigarh was half as much again as that from Chandigarh to Shimla. Half as much again. Half as much again. This is basically what it says. It's not saying that it's half off. It's not saying that it's half off. It's half as much again. So you basically have to add half of in the original speed from Chandigarh to Shimla in order to calculate the average speed from Delhi to Chandigarh. Okay. If the average speed for the entire journey was 49, so the average speed is 49 kilometers per hour. What was the average speed from Chandigarh to Shimla? What was the average speed from Chandigarh to Shimla? Basically, we need to calculate the value of S. Once we know S, we can calculate 3S by 2 also. It's not a big deal. Let's see what we can do. Now we have the average speed, which is 49, and I also know that average speed can be calculated as total distance divided by total time taken. I know that average speed can be calculated as total distance over total time taken. Now total distance is 7x. That's the total time which I need to calculate. So let's do that. So time taken in going from Delhi to Chandigarh will be 3x divided by 3s by 2, which will simply be 2x by s. And time taken in going from Chandigarh to Shimla, that will be 4x divided by s. So I can say that 49 will be equal to 7x, that's the total distance, divided by total time, that is 2x by s plus 4x by s, which will give you 49 is equal to 7x divided by 6x by s. Cancel this, cancel this. You're gonna get that 49 is equal to 7s by 6. Cancel this 7 and you're gonna get that s is equal to 42 kilometer per hour. S is 42 kilometers per hour. What's the average speed from Chandigarh to Shimla? That's the S value, which is 42. If they would have asked you from Delhi to Chandigarh, then it will be 3s by 2, which will be 63 kilometers per hour. Again, I have simply used that one relationship, that is average speed is equal to total distance over total time taken. That is all that you need to know. Alright, let's move on to question number 2. So pause the video and try this question, please. Alright, let's try this one again. So again, draw it and then solve it. Okay, TSD question, draw it and then solve it. Always remember that. It's going to be a lot easier for you. Don't do everything mentally, it's not possible. Apart from the basic logic, it expects you to draw. The question expects you to draw. Okay, so A and B walk from X to Y So let's say this is X, this is Y, a distance of 27 kilometers. Okay, that's also given to us, that's good. So I'm gonna have A and B. They walk from X to Y, a distance of 27 kilometers, and speed of A is given to us as 5 kilometers per hour, and speed of B is given to us as 7 kilometers per hour. B reaches Y. Now see, there are some things which are obvious and there are some things which you should be able to understand as soon as you read a question. Okay, like for example, once I'm done reading this first line starting with A and like reading up to respectively, I should be able to evaluate the fact that now since the speed of B is more, so what's going to happen is that I should be able to understand this, that B is going to reach Y first. I should have that mental thought process. I should have those mental calculations done. Okay, since the speed of B is more and the question doesn't say anything about that is someone stopping in between or no. So B should be able to reach Y first. B should, in fact. Now, without even moving forward, like I would be doing this mental calculation. Whether I'm like making this video for you, whether I'm like sitting in the exam and solving the questions, I would do that mental calculation while I'm reading the question. While I'm reading the question, I would be doing this mental calculation. Okay, the time taken by B to reach Y would be equal to 27 by 7. Now, what's 27 by 7? That I do not know, but yes, I have that mental calculation ready with me. And it's always better to put that on a piece of paper. And this will be 27.5 hours. Now let's move on, because see, this entire chapter revolves around only three things: speed, distance, and time. They're going to give you two of them or probably one of them, and they're going to ask you the remaining two or the remaining one. There is no other question that can be formed. So if something is given to you, always try to calculate the other thing. It's going to always help you out. Okay, now let's move on. B reaches Y and immediately turns back meeting A at Z. Okay, so B reaches Y. So what's gonna happen? B would be here. Let me draw B. So here's B, and when B would be at Y, then A would be somewhere between X and Y. Okay, when B is at Y, then A would be somewhere between X and Y. Now B would turn back, A would continue in its path, and they're gonna meet somewhere here. They're gonna meet somewhere here. So what's the question? The question is, what is the distance from X to Z? What is the distance from X to Z? This is what I need to calculate. So how can I do that? Let's do one thing. Let's say that there are a couple of ways of solving this question. Let's say now, because the reason is I'm trying to find out another way of solving this question. It's for the fact that the time that is given to us for A and B to reach Y, or effectively let's only talk about B to reach Y, it is 27 by 7, and I personally do not like that fraction because 27 cannot be divided by 7. I don't want to make my life cumbersome. Like I don't want to make my calculations cumbersome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's say that distance between X and Z is equal to A. So distance between Z and Y will be 27 minus A. Right? Okay. Now let's analyze this from a different perspective. Can I say this? Now see, this is where the logic comes in this chapter. Okay, it's not about calculations anymore, it's about logic. Can I say that the time taken by A to cover A kilometers should be equal to time taken by B to cover 27 plus 27 minus A kilometers. Think about the statement. Time taken by A to cover A kilometer should be equal to time taken by B to cover 27 plus 27 minus A, because they are meeting at Z. By the time A would reach Z, A would only cover A kilometers. By the time B would reach Z, B would go from X to Y, that's complete 27, and then the remaining portion YZ, that is 27 minus A, right? So I can say that A divided by speed of A, and what is speed of A? Speed of A is 5, that's the time taken, should be equal to 54 minus 8 divided by 7. And your question is done. It's very simple. You're gonna have 7A, so this will be 50 into 5 is, I guess, 250 and 20, that's 270, minus 5A. You're gonna have that 12A is equal to 270, or A is 270 by 12. Question is, what's the distance from X to Z? I think they're asking us to calculate A, and this is the value of A. That is 270 by 12 kilometers, and that's it. The question is done. Nothing else is required. Now, if you would have gone the conventional way, then you would have been like, okay, when B would reach Y, then how much distance would A cover? Then first you'll calculate that. Then what is the distance between A and Y when they both start walking towards each other? Then you will use the concept of relative speed. Okay, the two things are moving towards each other, and the time taken in for both of them to meet is equal to total distance between them divided by sum of their speeds, and blah blah blah. No, don't do that. 2 chapters, mark my words: time, speed, distance, and time in work. Use your logic. Neither your mathematical skills, when I say that, that means the calculation skills, it's not going to help you, trust me, no matter how fast you are and how good you are. And formulas, don't use these two things, always use your logic. These 2 chapters are basically made in order to check your logic. The questions from these 2 chapters comes in order to check your thinking abilities. Can you think in the right direction or not? All right. Okay, let's move on. Okay, pause the video and try this question, please. All right, let's try this one. So a man travels 3/5 of distance AB at a speed of 3A and the remaining at an average speed of 2B. Okay, so let's first draw AB. So a man travels 3/5 of the distance AB at an average speed of 3A. Okay, so let's say this AX is 3/5 of AB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to consider the distance from A to B to be 5P units, again for the same reason. Rather than taking the values as P and 5P by 3 or 3P by 5, it's better to take the total to be 5P, so that 3/5 of that will become 3P, and this remaining will be 2P. A man travels 3/5 of a distance AB at a speed of 3A, so the speed from A to X will be equal to 3. That's the average speed, and the remaining at a speed of 2B, So speed from X to B is 2B. All right. If he goes back from B to A at an average speed of 5C in the same time. All right. So then he goes back from B to A in 5C. Okay, so while going, he uses two different speeds for two different distances. But while going back, he is using one speed, that's 5C. Find the relationship between A, B, and C. Cool, no problem, we can do that. So first case, while going from A to B. So time taken in going from A to X is equal to 3P by 3A, which is equal to P by A, and time taken in going from X to B is equal to 2P by 2B, which is equal to P by B. So total time is equal to P by A plus P by B. That's it. And then while going from B to A, the time taken will be simply the distance, which is 5P divided by the average speed, that is 5C, which is equal to P by C. Now the question says that he goes back from B to A in the same time. That means time from A to B will be equal to time from B to A, right? Which means P by A plus P by B should be equal to P by C, which means that 1 over A plus 1 over B would be equal to 1 over C. And that's it. It's done, nothing else. That's the relationship that we were supposed to find. And you do get these questions in the exam, okay? It's not that you won't get these questions. You do get questions like these in exam. All right, let's move on forward. All right, so pause the video and try this question, please. After this, we will be discussing the concept of relative speed. So probably that's the thing that will be starting in the next video. So try this question before we wrap up here. All right, let's see. All right, this is like one of my favorite questions from time, speed, and distance. This actually checks whether you have understood the concept of time, speed, and distance or not. Okay. All right, let's see. Now, always remember that the concept of time, speed, and distance, you will only learn this concept with the help of solving questions. You will never understand this chapter by like understanding the theory part. It will never happen. Trust me, the more you solve, the more you understand this chapter. Okay. All right. So a train approaches a tunnel AB. Inside the tunnel is a cat located at a point that is 3/8 of the distance AB measured from the entrance. When the train whistles, the cat runs. If the cat moves to the entrance of the tunnel, the train catches the cat exactly at the entrance. If the cat moves to the exit B, the train catches the cat at exactly the exit. Okay. The speed of the train is greater than the speed of the cat by what order? Or the question could have been like, find the ratio of the speed of the car to that of the train, or whatever the question is. All right. So first of all, I'm going to draw a tunnel. And then there is a train which is approaching it. Okay, this is A, this is B. Inside the tunnel, the cat is located at a point that is 3/8 of the distance AB. Okay, from the entrance here, it's 3/8 of the distance AB measured from the entrance here. Okay, so let's say that the total length of the tunnel is L. So this cat is basically sitting at a distance of 3L/8 from A and 5L/8 from B, because the total distance is L, and if from A the distance is 3L/8, then from B the distance will be 5L/8. Alright. When the train whistles, the cart runs. Now, another thing is that I do not know how far the train is from the tunnel. From what point exactly the train whistles, I do not know that. Okay, that's not given to us in the question. So let's do one thing. Let's consider the distance between the train and the tunnel when the train whistles to be D. Let's assume that the distance between the train and the tunnel is D when the train whistles. Okay. All right. If the cat moves to the entrance, the train catches the cat directly at the entrance. So what's this statement basically saying? That the statement basically says that when the train, or let me put it in this way, time taken by train to cover D is equal to time taken by cat to cover a distance of 3L/8. When the train whistles, the cat runs. Okay, read the statement carefully. When the train whistles, the cat runs. So train whistles at a distance of D from the tunnel. The cat runs. The cat runs towards A. That's the first scenario that we're considering. The cat runs towards A. The cat and the train meet exactly at A. The train catches the cat exactly at the entrance. Read this. The train catches the cat exactly at the entrance. Which means the time taken by train to cover the distance D should be equal to time taken by cat to cover a distance of 3L/8. It has to be. Otherwise, how would the train catch the cat at the entrance of the tunnel? It's not possible. Which means I can say that D divided by speed of train, I do not know that also, will be equal to 3L/8 divided by speed of cat. Or better way to write this as speed of cat divided by speed of train is equal to 3L divided by 8D. It will be 3L divided by 8D. Alright. And there is another scenario, that is when the cat moves towards B. Now the train whistles again from the same point. Now in the second scenario, the cat is moving towards B. The cat is moving towards B. And the train catches the cat at the exit. Which means I can say that time taken by train time taken by train to cover a distance of d plus L, because the train has to cover the distance which is between the tunnel and the point from where it whistles, as well as the entire length of the tunnel. In order to reach the exit, the train has to cover d plus L, right? Should be equal to time taken by cat to cover a distance of 5L by 8. Alright, so again the same thing. So let me write it here. So I'm gonna have d plus L divided by speed of train should be equal to 5L by 8 divided by speed of cat, which means I can again say that speed of cat by speed of train will be equal to 5L divided by 8 into d plus L. So I have two relationships of SC over ST. One is in the red one at the right and one is in the green one. So let's equate them. That's the only thing that we can do. So I'm going to remove my drawing so that I have space on the screen. So I'm going to have 5L divided by 8D plus 8L, that is equal to 3L divided by 8D. I can cancel L, and okay, let me write this denominator on the left as 8 times D plus L. Cancel 8 and cancel 8. You're going to have 5D is equal to D plus L, or D is equal to L by 4. D will be equal to L by 4. Now if D is equal to L by 4, I can calculate one thing. I can definitely calculate the ratio of speed of the car to that of the train. I can calculate speed of the car to that of the train. So speed of the car to that of train, using this equation, the one written in red because that's the easier one, that is 3L divided by 8 into L by 4, because D is L by 4, so I can cancel this. And these two L's are also going to get cancelled. So speed of the cart to that of the train will be equal to 3:2. I just hope I haven't made any calculation mistakes. So 5L divided by 8 into D plus L is equal to 3L divided by 8D. Oh, yes, I made one mistake, really sorry, while solving this ratio. So 8 goes out, L and L goes out. I think I forgot to cross multiply 3. Yes. So I'm gonna have 2D is equal to 3L, or D is equal to 3L by 2. So speed of the cat by speed of the train, so that is 3L divided by 8 into 3L by 2. So 3L cancels, 2 goes, this will become 4. So speed of the cat to speed of the train is 1 over 4. So calculation part is something that you guys can do it by yourself. That's not that is important, no denying on that part, but I made one small error. But anyways, I hope the concept is clear. So see, interestingly, in this question they have not given you anything. They have simply given you one fraction, that's it. They have not given you anything. That's what the beauty of this chapter is. They will only give you like a very small piece of information. Everything will be given to in terms of words, and they can ask you like anything. That's what you need to comprehend in this chapter, that is speed, time and distance. Okay, so let's keep it till here as far as this video is concerned. Probably I'll be making a video or two more on time, speed, and distance. In the next one, we'll discuss the basics of relative speed. I'm going to make you understand how do you calculate relative speed, how do you solve questions of relative speed. Okay, and then we'll be solving like more questions, the difficult questions, the easy questions. All right, but remember one thing: this chapter requires only one thing, that is your understanding of the question. Nothing else is required. All right. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe for more videos and exam related content on SAT, GMAT and GRE. If you have any concerns, if you have any questions, please do let us know. You can WhatsApp us or you can mail us. And if you're looking for personalized classes for GMAT, GRE and SAT, you can always connect with us. Alright guys, thank you for all the support. Keep watching and keep learning. Thank you so much.